my goodness. Welcome to the Eclectic Novel Society. Kind of our tagline is there's a lot to read and we're here to talk about it. I think what we offer that other book podcasts don't offer is that we're funny. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I
We
stand down on that. We
We're
are.
friends.
we're
Yes.
friends. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay,
Um,
it's
and I
two.
think
It's two
that we
F's.
didn't go into this intending to be a book podcast. We are like, this is where we're just like normal people, which is we thought we were so entertaining that we should just start a podcast about it.
Okay, but we actually are that entertaining. Like, I'm sorry, but we are, and I think we deserve to be at this table. You know what I mean? Like, we deserve to be at the table of book podcasters.
I mean, I do think we should like say, my name is Maggie B, and I have a history with another co-host on here of a podcast. We have done the podcast
Mhm.
game before.
We're very experienced podcasters.
Veterans.
I'm Maggie D, and I also have experience in podcasting before, but we've added to our arsenal and therefore to our love. Welcome, third
Well,
co-host.
yeah, I'm Shay, and I've not podcasted before, and you'll be able to tell that
No, you won't be able to tell.
as we go on. But I bring, something different. My name is not Maggie, number one. Okay, so there's that. And
It's
number
a
two,
beautiful flavor, a
yeah.
new flavor added.
I mean,
Um,
I think okay, so like the reason we all decided to start podcasting, we were trying to discuss this before we started recording this, and I'm not exactly sure. I mean, Shay and Maggie D are sisters, and then I
Mhm.
somehow ended up in a group chat with the two of you.
and we
Like
don't
to this
remember how. We do
Right.
not
Like to
remember
this
how.
day, we don't know actually how the three of us ended up in a group chat, other than that we do all know each other,
Mhm.
but not like I know Maggie and I know Shay, but they didn't know each other. But then I wasn't even in the original. Like Shay and Maggie started a chat about books without me, and I'm the one who introduced. So
Wait,
I don't
also,
even
also
understand.
Shay and I talked like a lot, like it's like a true internet fan, which is Shay and I have talked a lot for someone I've only met in person twice.
Twice. I know. I was trying to think. I was like, by the time when I met you like in person, like I was like, this is a stranger. Like I am meeting this person that I've never met for sure. But we texted every single day for I lots. You were probably my number one person that I texted. Like for there was months where we were reading this book series and we were text. I texted you more than anybody else. And like I met you and I was like, oh, this is a stranger. This is my stranger. This is a stranger Maggie, but also my best book friend Maggie.
It was
Like
it was what your parents warn you about. They're like, don't talk to strangers on the internet. And I was like, but I
Yeah,
trust them.
I just
but this is the thing is I do think the
You
way
told
that
me, no,
the
Shay, you told me where you live. I mean, this is again, it's not crazy because you are actually a person that I know through a person I
yeah.
know, right? But like when you had your baby, you told me where you lived so that I could send you a
He
baby
sent
gift.
me a baby gift, a personalized onesie based on the book series that we
And
were
we had
reading.
never met. I had never
Never
met
met.
you in person before
Never met.
that.
Okay, so here's the thing is I do think the way that we ended up in a group chat with the three of us
Hmm.
is that I must have gotten extremely jealous of the love between you two. And I was like, I need to be a part of it. So I then read the book series that you two were reading, which was an insane series, which eventually we will do a podcast
We'll
on.
reveal that, but not today.
Not
Yeah,
today.
You'll have to continue to tune in to know
we
more
want
about
the
that.
listeners to like trust our opinions first, and
Yeah,
then
and
I will
that's
own up to what the book series was.
absolutely, absolutely.
Right.
That's
Which
not that's not for today.
I do think that speaks volumes about who we are as readers, though,
Hmm.
is we read books that maybe not everyone would consider good, but we love them and we want to talk about them.
Yeah.
And some of the books though I will say we have a varied interest. Like I feel like
Hmm.
between the three of us, we really
Absolutely.
do read different books, which is what I wanted to ask us to do, is to kind of talk about what is the book that got us into reading, whether, you're a kid, you're
Hmm.
an adult. For me, definitely as a kid, 90% of our generation got into reading, I feel like, through Harry Potter. So of course, even though J.K. Rowling's a turf and we don't appreciate her, but I love Harry Potter. It got me into reading. I read all throughout school, like voracious reader, but then of course, like I fell off the bandwagon, as so many people do. I
You
stopped reading
do, yeah.
probably. Yes, I stopped reading for fun probably in college, and I didn't really pick it back up again until probably a couple of years ago. And for me, this like the book that got me back into reading the book series, because I'm a series gal, was The Raven Cycle by Maggie
Hmm.
Stiefvater,
Okay.
which,
Yeah,
another Mag
another
to the
Maggie.
conversation.
A third Maggie here
A
in the
third.
room with us.
I think like my family definitely read Harry Potter, but
Mhm.
I definitely think Tamora Pierce was the author who got me into like reading as a kid. And
Mhm.
I loved like all the Magic series books. It was like if it wasn't Magic, I didn't want to read it. And then again, yes, I fell off reading in college and I wondered like I wanted to blame that on school, but I think I might actually have to blame that on like the true advent of the internet. Like before that, you
Hmm.
had the internet, but then as we were in college, it was like Instagram was becoming a thing and like
Right.
all of that. And so I think I just like fell off. And then the pandemic happened, and I unfortunately got back into reading. No, not unfortunately. I got back into reading through Akatar, which is like, I have such mixed feelings about it because part of it is so wildly compelling. And part of it, I'm like, what's the popular joke on the internet? It's like, don't say watery bowels. Like, don't tell me she had watery bowels another day. You know what I mean?
We love an IBS queen, you know? I get
Well,
it.
but honestly, we are not here to judge how anybody gets into or gets back into reading. Like, however you read, however you
Absolutely.
get back into reading, that's what we're here to talk about, to be honest.
No,
So,
I
because I
mean,
read ACOTAR too,
yeah, I
Yeah,
liked
you
it.
same.
I honestly am afraid of the fans of like true fans of Avatar, not because I think that they're wrong, but because I cannot be that creative about all of the like fan theories. I don't think I've ever had a fan theory. And I feel
It's
like
a
I'm an
lot of
intellectual.
theories.
I have
Mhm.
never had a fan theory about anything.
no. I haven't
Okay,
either, to be honest.
interesting.
I consume a book and then I'm like, oh wow, like that was good, and then I never think about it again, unless it was really good. Shay, wait, what's your book series
Oh,
or
okay, okay.
book?
Okay, so definitely what started my like interest in reading, I read the Harry Potter books, like our whole family did. Like I'm
Right.
Maggie's sister, like that was a thing for us. But truly the book and the series that like changed my brain chemistry was Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice and then the Vampire Chronicles. I was emo in high school. I was like part of the crowd, and that was like I just like was reading those books like, oh my gosh, like I can't even describe how that changed, like how I appreciate anything in my life. Like just I think about that book all the time, still to this day. And then I stopped reading in college. Like what I think you just have you have to read for not fun so much that I guess you just don't. And you're like building your social circles and stuff. So I guess you're not like
Right.
it's
You
just
have like
not
a lot to do in
you
college,
have
a
a
lot of
lot going
fun stuff.
on
Yeah.
developmentally and socially and
Mhm.
academically. Like you just are not, you don't have that. And then, like, I think so many others during the pandemic, I got back into reading. And I think a lot of it was that I am a TV head, or I was historically a TV head, like, especially before I had
I am too.
kids. And there was just nothing on TV that I wanted. Like, I was like flipping through the channels, like trying to find something to watch, or all the, not channels, but Netflix, Hulu, the subscriptions. And I didn't want to watch anything. And I was like desperately bored. And I went to a bookshelf and like pulled out this book and like read the back. And I was like, oh, okay, like that, I could get into that. And I read it and I was like, oh my God, like there's there's plots out here. Like there's plots, there's characters that you like you can read whatever. And then um oh gosh, I think it was I think that book was by Leanne Moriarty. I think that's what her name is. And but after that it was like really quick. Like I wanted to consume a lot of books like right away. And then I read and read and read. I read Ekatar for sure. Um
It was
and
compelling. It was like
it
being put in a
was.
really pleasant coma. Like I mean that 100% compliment, no judgment to the Akatar girlies. It was
Mhm.
like you just start and then all of a sudden you've read 9,000 pages.
Yes. And that was when it became clear to me too, like, oh, I like romance. Like, oh, I'm her. I'm like that girl. And that, like, it was so now it's like almost, which is interesting because Interview with the Vampire, like, it does have like a romantic kind of like undercurrent, I think, but it is not a romance book. It's definitely a horror book. Um, but now it's like, I want to read romance. Like, I love to read romance. I want to read smut. I want to read yearning. I want to read
Mm,
contemporary, just like rom-coms. I want to read like beautiful, like heartbreaking love stories. I want to read fan fiction. Like
mm.
I want to read about people kissing emotionally and physically. Even if it's just one kiss at the end. I want to that's what I
I
want.
Okay,
really
Shay, I
my
do.
favorite thing is like I love fantasy through and through. That's like my number one.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
it's the best if there's romance. Like if I read a fantasy novel and there isn't even a ounce of yearning, I'm like, what have we done? Why
Right.
did we build
Oh,
this
why?
universe for nothing?
Mhm.
No, I mean, I think the three of us can all agree that out of all book genres, like, no matter, I will read anything if
Mhm.
there is a little bit of romance in it. Like,
A
I don't even need the
longing
whole book.
gaze.
Yes, like yearning.
Mhm. The
Yearning is
yearning.
what we all talk about.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
But Shay, I do
That.
have to tell you that when you were in your interview with the vampire, like days in high
Mhm.
school, I was trying to like keep up with you, but I was younger than you.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of like, I want to say romance, but it's really just like weird sex stuff
A lot of
in,
weird vampire sex stuff, not in interview, but in the following books. And it's like it's not a slow transition. It's like, yep,
right.
that's
Well,
check,
so like
that's sex
I
stuff. Yep.
I was reading that, like trying to keep up with you because you're my older sister, and I was like, ooh, like I'm gonna be part of this. And I was like, I mean, I really feel like that scared me a little bit. Like not scared, but I just was like really intrigued by it, and I was like way too young to be intrigued by it, and I was like, I don't know what any of this means. Like I was like, I don't know what it means, but it's provocative.
Well, and that's I definitely didn't know what a lot of it meant either. Like I was a very for a hardcore emo girl, like I was very sheltered. Like I didn't have a lot of boyfriends or whatever. Like it was, that was not my
Right,
vibe.
right.
And I remember being like kind of almost lying to myself that I understood like, yeah, that's really beautiful. That's powerful. That's a very powerful connection. But like, did I did I get it? No, no. I don't
I
think
mean,
I did.
that still happens to me, like as an adult, sometimes in sex scenes, I'll
Yeah.
be like, wait, where is his hand? Like, what position is that? That
like
can't.
like like we said, we're very like we're gonna be jokey and sarcastic, but like I never have a judgment for another person or another reader. Like I might make a joke, but I truly like don't care what people get up to. But like I do read romance sometimes and I think like, oh, I'm not like equipped for this. Like I we
I
did
need
what?
an
We
adult.
did what with that candy cane?
Yeah. No.
The candy cane? Oh,
Candy
yes.
cane.
Oh, because she told us about the Christmas. Was it a Christmas tree?
Those were the
No, that
Christmas
was
tree.
Shay's. Yeah.
The sentient
Oh,
Christmas
that was.
trees. Yeah.
Oh my
And
God,
I
a
did not
candy cane would be minty. Like I feel like that
I
wouldn't
heard it was
feel
called
right.
no,
my
it's like
how
the
my
honey pot,
neighbors.
like the little period pads that are like have the
Well,
mint in
Shay,
them.
that didn't
Like
feel
that's
right
refreshing.
either.
That's
That
refreshing.
didn't. No, Shay
And
didn't tell me that she gave me a honey pot pad, and it was not. I mean, it was. It was. I just asked her for a pad, and she gave me that. And
that's what I
there's
have.
peppermint.
Well, a peppermint, but it's a mint. It's refreshing. It's
Oh,
minty,
imagine
refreshing.
that. You don't. You, imagine that. You didn't expect that, and that's the sensation you get.
Yeah,
Imagine.
I don't think I need to be refreshed in that way.
I enjoyed
I
it.
respect it. I respect it.
A little spa on a.
So we are going to talk about a book that we read for our Eclectic Novel Society, because
Yes.
basically we've just started a book club with you, the listeners, and
Yes.
ourselves. But we have to put a very big disclaimer on it because of the times that we live in. So we're going to throw
Well,
it
I
over.
feel like
You
I
go,
do have to
Maggie.
say, yeah, because you and I have a history of podcasting, what we realize is just like the best thing you can do is tell people where you're coming from and like set your
Yeah.
ground rules, like how we're going to talk about things and how people can talk back to us. It's just like having a real relationship, like you really are allowed to say, like, this is how I like to be spoken to, and this is how I will speak about things. And like, that's why we're doing this because we just want to be like candid with y'all
Yes.
so that everybody knows where we're coming from.
Yes.
Yeah. Maggie saved me. She was like, "You're turning into a boomer." I was like, "Because of this day and age." No, that's what I meant. She put it so much more beautifully. We're
Okay.
throwing it over to the therapist.
Yeah. So, I like wrote out the disclaimer and like practiced it in my head because I wanted to make sure that we like communicated, especially for this very first, our pilot episode, that we're setting like good rules or good expectations, I guess is a better way to phrase it. But
A team
basically,
charter. I am pursuing
yeah,
my MBA and they made a big deal about a team charter. So we're all going to make this
yeah,
team charter together right now.
I think that's beautiful. So, the purpose of the Eclectic Novel Society is to read lots of different books for our entertainment and hopefully for your entertainment. We will love some books that you, as the listener, do not like, and vice versa. And that's a beautiful thing. That's what art is about. That's what, reading is about. That's what the human experience is about. Everybody having different opinions and coming together to share those opinions. And that's a beautiful thing. Um, Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I just want to make sure we're saying like everything we need to say. And most importantly, okay, we have nothing but respect and gratitude for the authors that write the books. You know, their time and their talent have gone into these things. We are not professional book critics at all. We're just people that have opinions. And even if we end up not liking a book, which certainly the three of us have different tastes, like we're going to read some books that we don't like. But that is not a reflection of if the book is good or bad. And we are so grateful to the authors for putting themselves out there and for creating these books and this art that we get to spend time with and then get to talk about in this podcast and have this experience with. So thank you to the authors. We are grateful. Nothing but respect, nothing but love. Even if we dunk on your book sometimes, which we are going to do tonight a little bit. But so I guess without further ado, our
Well,
first
and
book.
I will say, like, the same, I think, extends to like fellow readers. It's like anything we say is not like a moral, I don't know, flogging of you as a person. Like, if we're
Yeah,
like, I would never do that, I would never agree with that, I would, like, that means nothing about our opinion of you as a
no,
person. People are so multifaceted that that's the whole point. It's
yes,
like, we're all going to feel differently about things. And like we said earlier, like, we're not here to judge anybody. We're just here to like have a good laugh and read a bunch of books.
Well,
absolutely.
and honestly, I feel differently about books depending on what day it is. Like maybe I don't
Uh-huh.
like it today, but sometimes I'll look back on it and be like, you know what? I actually loved it. So
Mhm.
it just don't take this personally. It's okay. We're just here to have fun, y'all, and talk about some books.
And listen, once Shay's gonna kick us off into talking about the book, and I can tell you that I came into the book, like Maggie D said, with like a much different opinion because I had already accidentally read a completely different book for this episode.
Oh my God, I forgot. Maggie read a different book for this. Okay, well, let's say the book
Okay.
is
Okay,
The
so the book
Housemaid.
is The Housemaid by Freida McFadden, which has been a super well performing book. Lots of people have read it, lots of people have enjoyed it. And I have to say that I was in a reading slump like prior to reading this book. I have been really like in the bad habit of doom scrolling, especially like I
Mm,
just got off maternity leave. And it is so easy to doom scroll, like especially when you're nursing, like because you only have one hand and you're like, oh well, okay, like you just kind of it happens. But
yeah.
What I will say about this book, it is not my genre because it is a thriller, but it really pulls you in. Like it's very fast paced right away. Okay. The story opens, and somebody is dead. Okay. There is a body in the attic. Surprise. There's a body in the attic, and it's first person narrated, correct? So the narrator
Yeah.
knows there's a body in the attic and the police are there. Okay, the body has been discovered. And we get the sense that the narrator knows what has happened with this body. Probably. I guess we don't know that for sure, but they're like the police are gonna find out about this body in the
And
attic.
like, because we're talking about the whole book, so we know like there's going to be spoilers.
Right.
This
Oh,
is
yes,
the
yes, yes.
whole discussion, right? So like,
Yeah.
I am now, of course, sitting here just realizing that that's Nina,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
so like you're reading it and you're going, okay, this person, because we don't get to know it's Nina, knows
Hmm.
that they're not guilty, but also knows that they're going to be blamed for the crime. And
Yes.
then we
I
just move on.
actually
Oh,
Hmm.
I actually didn't think that the person even thought that they weren't guilty. Like it opens and they're just like, there's a body in the attic. The cops want me to admit that I did it, but I'm not going to admit that I did it. And so in my mind, I was like, oh, this person
They
killed
did it.
somebody. They
Yeah.
killed a body and left him in the attic.
Mhm. But so this is the prologue, right? Okay. And then fast forward to chapter one. It is a time hop backwards. We're going back in time. We're going back in time. Like it's like 3 months, right? It's like several months
Yes.
backwards.
Which
Okay.
is like crazy that this whole book happens in 3 months. That feels
oh
like
my God.
nothing.
I don't think
It-
I realized this whole book happens in 3 months. Honestly, in my head, it happened in 2 weeks. I actually thought it was way less time. I was like, we're because everyone in this book's insane. So I just went ahead and assumed we were like doing instant love and instant
Very
murder and
intense
everything.
feelings, instant love,
Okay, but
instant murder.
three
Mhm.
months is instant love to me. Like, what do you're like, I just assumed you were doing instant love. Like, yeah, that's what we're doing. It's 3 months and there's a body in the attic. Like, hello, you met him
You
on
haven't been reading
Monday.
and you haven't been reading enough romance straight up. Then 3 months is like enough to solidify
An
an entire lifetime
eternity,
together.
an
Well, it's
eternity
true.
together.
You guys know that I'm a you guys know that I'm a series girl.
Yes.
So, I'm used to like drawn out. There's books and books and books. And for this one, it was like we met him on a Monday, they're in love by Tuesday, somebody's dead on Thursday. So,
It's a real
but okay, we
whirlwind.
open, right?
Right. And there is a very clever, like literary kind of device because I don't know if that's the right term, but it's first person narrated. And so the narrator has changed. And we know that later, but we don't know that going in. So we think that the narrator in chapter one is the same narrator as our prologue who is here with this body. Okay. So now we're going back in time. We're with our narrator, right? And the narrator, what we know about the narrator is that we know she's a girl, right? Does she say she's a
Yeah,
girl?
we straight up meet
No.
Millie. Yeah, I mean it's titled Millie. So we know it's Millie.
Okay, so
That's
Oh,
this
I was talking
narrator.
about the beginning part. Yeah,
Oh, I
no,
think
you're
no, the
so
also
right.
prologue we
that
do
one,
not, but the
yeah.
first chapter is Millie, and
It's
she
Millie.
is fresh out of the slammer. Fresh out the slammer. Right.
But of course, like
She's
because it's a thriller, they don't disclose why she doesn't disclose why she's fresh out the slammer, Taylor Swift
no,
style. So
yeah.
she just is
But
like,
We
I
all knew.
knew.
We
We were
all
like,
knew.
I knew as soon as it said that she had been in prison for 10 years since she was 17 years old. I was like, now why would she be in prison for 10 years at 17 years old? And they didn't tell us that. Oh,
do
because
you
she
know?
killed someone.
I don't do any true crime. I don't listen to a single true crime podcast. I don't even think about any of that. So I was like, must be like a Jean Valjean situation. I was like, she's been framed.
You thought she was innocent.
Like I just assumed like I was like if she's
Oh,
17, she's gone to like or like it's like kind of thing where they like come down harshly on something that really wasn't that like big of a deal.
yeah.
Obviously listen, should have assumed. I'm not telling you I'm in the right here. I'm telling you I am not primed to read a thriller because I don't I this is the second thriller I've read and the first thriller I read was 2 days before this thriller because
Which was
again I
also the
accidentally read the
housemaid.
wrong Listen, if I had a nickel for every time I read a thriller called The Housemaid, I'd have two nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's crazy that it happened twice.
Okay. So what I
Well,
will
that's
say, okay,
you
you
go,
go.
Shay.
Okay. Well, as I am someone who, as previously stated, I really only like to read romance. But as in my previous life as a TV head, I pretty much exclusively was in for true crime, method, crime dramas, okay, Law and Order, like saw every single episode, um, you know, every mystery movie. I like went through a big Sherlock Holmes phase. I was like watching the Sherlock Holmes episodes of TV. And so part of my issue with a lot of media in general is that I am really good at predicting plots, especially if it's like a very like a method like thriller mystery situation. I always see it coming. I always know what's gonna happen. I like spoil it for myself always almost immediately by being like, "Oh, I bet that's what happens." And
Right.
this,
I read a lot of
yeah,
thrillers. Like I've read all of Gillian Flynn's work or Gillian Flynn's work, who wrote Gone
uh-huh,
Girl,
yeah.
you know, like Lucy Foley mysteries and things like that. So I
Mhm.
too, Shay, was like, oh, like Millie, this bitch, she killed somebody
She
for
killed a
sure.
man.
Like she
Yeah,
killed a man. There's no way that this
absolutely.
bitch did not kill somebody.
Now
But so she
I have seen Gone Girl. I didn't but I didn't read the book. But the thing is, this whole book gave me the vibe of like they wish that they were Gone Girl. It was like, you know, the way that people say like La Croix is like if a strawberry thought about being sparkling water. It's like
Yes.
this thriller thought about Gone Girl the entire time it was written, but it didn't live up to the badass, insane woman that Gone Girl did. You know, it's like, yeah, I do want to watch Rosamund Pike absolutely lose her shit. You know, it
Hmm.
was this, but this whole
Iconic.
book was really like white women problems, white women dying. And I was like, of course, you know?
Mhm. Yeah. And
well,
it,
okay. So she goes into so we know that she's gotten out of prison. We know that she's applying for this job, which means that, and we know that she's desperate for the job because
mhm,
she's just gotten out of prison. She alludes several times that like nobody's gonna hire her, because
mhm,
she's had incidents in the past. So like,
right.
of course, she goes to interview for this job, and we know as the reader, like, oh, she's going to be trapped in this job.
Mhm.
Like, she's going to get this job, and there's going to be some shit that goes down in this job.
I
Like,
do feel like we have to talk about like because Millie meets Nina. Nina is the rich housewife that hires
Uh-huh.
her. And the entire first chapter, Millie's like, and by the way, Nina's fat.
Oh my God,
And
I know the body
and
shaming of Nina.
and like I understand now, having read the whole book, why we set that up. And like it's not a spoiler, so we can say it now. It's like
Yeah.
Nina tries intentionally to quote unquote let herself go so that
Mhm.
like her husband will like leave her alone, right? But the whole thing is the way that Millie talks about Nina's body is the way that I feel like I wrote like the way
True.
that people with anxiety assume other people are thinking about them. Where I was like,
Oh my
because I'll be
gosh,
honest with
yes.
you, like I'm never thinking somebody else should lose 5 pounds. Now, do I contribute to the brain rot that is our society and think that I should constantly lose 5 pounds? Sure. But I have never looked at someone else and been like, they should lose 5 pounds. They really let themselves
Yeah.
go.
right.
And
I
so I was
literally,
like, this is where I was like, what is this internal monologue? What are we doing here?
Yes.
I literally have a note that says, I hope there's a point to all this talk of her being fat. Like, that is a note that I wrote down because I was
But
like,
I'll tell
this
you
is
what,
rude.
I don't think it was enough to pay off. Like, I'm sorry, the way that we executed it by making Millie have this constant internal monologue was like not enough for me to be like, wow, the big butt reveal. Like, I was just like, okay, so
Oh, yeah. And
great.
then it was like, she's at least a size 12 now. I was like, or 14 or so. I was like, girl, like, no, like,
Ma'am.
Yeah. And like, honestly, if you're shopping at Reformation, everyone's a size 12. Okay. It runs tiny.
she's
Yeah.
like, here, Millie, here's my old clothes. They don't really fit anymore. And they're like a size, sixes and eights. And Millie's like, wow, that must have been a long time ago. Like, not every hot-blooded American woman has clothes that are a size 6 through 16 in her closet that all fit the same on her body. Like, it was
Right.
really
Yeah.
weird.
So like that's
Right.
basically what I walked away with this first scene from. I know we were supposed to clearly have gotten a lot of intuition about Millie. All I walked away
Yeah.
with is being like, Loki, I'm not a fan of Millie. Like she's all she wants to do is fat shame everybody.
Yeah. It was weird.
Um, well, so she meets Nina. She judges her for being fat, but she also is like, wow, this is a job that I really want because the house is beautiful. I only have to like clean up after these beautiful, gorgeous, like people in their rich home, and I get to live there because she's been living in her car. Like, Millie is down on her luck right now. She got fired from her last job for mysterious circumstances. Um, she is living in her car. She really needs this job, basically. But y'all, when she goes and applies for this job, the gardener literally looks at her and says, danger.
Sure. In her
This is
defense, he said it in Italian, right? He's Italian. But
Yes, yes.
yeah.
yeah.
Enzo.
So
Enzo is
she had to
Italian.
Google it,
But
and
like,
it was
okay, this is
ginger.
also I thought this was a good first book to read because I think it was like a perfect study in the concept of a thriller. Because there is like in the
Yes.
first chapter, she literally says, um, I set foot into the magnificent house and I should never have come here in the first place is this like the feeling that she had, right? And you're like, okay, cool. So we're like laying the groundwork for the fact that like it was all like something terrible is
Yeah.
going to happen. And so I was like, this is all very on the nose. This is the kind of book you could have like high schoolers read and then be like, now highlight everything that is the foreshadowing to the end, you know? And so that's what I
Yes.
was like, okay, I'll give some
Oh yeah.
appreciation for like the concept
Hmm.
that I can tell she's hitting all of the little
Yes.
dings to get to thriller.
Yeah. You can
Yes.
tell that she is very comfortable and familiar with the genre. Like she's very practiced at this genre.
Yeah.
And I have a friend who like reads a lot of books by her and like loves her. And actually said when I told her that we were doing this for our first episode, she was like, ah, that's not the one that I would pick by her. I think that she has ones that are like a lot better. But and maybe that's true, but she certainly is skilled at this type of a book, this type of story.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the thing I think that for me was one of the most interesting parts of it is that once Millie is inevitably offered the job,
Mhm.
Nina, the beautiful woman who interviewed her and who was lovely to her during the interview, like does a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde situation. So like all of a
Mhm.
sudden Nina becomes the antagonist totally. Like literally, I think it's the first day that Millie is there. Nina, when well, first off, Millie moves in and there's trash everywhere on the ground where the house had
Oh, wait.
previously
I have to talk
been
about one
cleaned.
thing before she moves
Yes.
in, right? Doesn't she like get the tour? She gets the tour of this beautiful house, and there's the
Mhm.
room in the attic where she's gonna stay. And she's like, there's a
Mhm.
little cot bed, and there's a bathroom across the hall. Oh, and
Hmm.
there's a bucket in the closet. And I said, that's a bucket for pissing. I said,
Uh-huh.
girl, red
Absolutely.
flag immediately. Millie was like,
Mhm.
I guess they left a bucket up there. I said, that was one thing. I said, girl,
Mhm.
the only reason there's a bucket in a closet is for peeing. You get out now.
I must
Mhm.
have missed the bucket. I must have missed the bucket because I was shocked by the bucket later on. But you were Maggie. The bucket was for pissing.
Yeah, and she like we intentionally flag it, so then I'm like, oh, we're flagging the piss bucket. Like I was like,
Yeah.
That's got to be like the new catchphrase for
Flag
foreshadowing.
the piss bucket. We
I
are
said,
flagging the piss bucket. People being pissing in the bucket. Okay, that's
and
what's gonna happen.
that is where the problem with like thrillers is, right? Because you do have to set up these things, so you intentionally have to set up these things, and so like it is that thing where she has to be like almost willfully ignorant to be like, what's the bucket doing in this creepy little room for pissing, Millie? It's for pissing.
It's
Okay.
obviously why is there a lock on the outside of the door? So that's why you have to use the piss bucket is because
Yeah.
you'll be locked in the room. Like obviously, Millie. Like you were in jail. Like why
Yeah.
is the lock on the outside of the door?
Well, that's the thing. She even says, like, she was like, I was in jail. I don't like being confined. I'm like, girl, what do you think? A door that locks from the outside, a window that doesn't open, and now flagging the piss bucket. What do you think this was for?
I just want like
It's prison.
I just figured she would have like whatever the opposite of street smarts is, like locked up smarts, right? Like she's seen some
It'd be
stuff, right? There's a whole
institutionalized.
cultural
Yeah.
dynamic inside of prison. There's like a whole like there just is. It's a small
Hmm.
community. So like
Right.
I was just like I just feel like we should have learned something about the human condition from 10 years in prison,
No, we
but we
No.
didn't. So she moves in, you're right.
She did
Everything's
not
a
watch Law and
mess.
Order. She didn't know about
No.
piss buckets.
And then like Nina is like Maggie said, perfect description. Dr. Jekyll, Miss Hyde. Nina is or not, yeah, Nina is insane. And like
Yeah.
the funny thing was, I swear when she was hired, Nina was like, "You're here to clean and make dinner." And then on her first day, Nina's like, "Hey, you haven't made dinner yet. When's it going to be ready?" And Millie's like, "I didn't know I was supposed to make dinner." And I was like, "No, I'm pretty sure that was like one of
That
your
was a
two
job.
job descriptions.
Oh, mhm.
I
There's a
really
secret
like
third job
that.
description, but we don't know it yet."
I really enjoy, Maggie, that you're already Team Nina. Like Nina is berating this woman and like making her clean up milk off of the floor, and Maggie's like, "Okay, but this was in your job description."
Here's the thing.
No,
Here's the thing.
no, totally. Like, okay,
It's
you say what you're saying.
I understand these are all bad people, right? Okay. I'm not even team Nina. It's just that Nina is so blatantly
Mhm.
insane that I'm like, we're doing something here. Like she's
Yes.
cooking. Okay, let her cook. Okay. She's well, not literally, because she hired Millie for that, but she,
Let her cook.
No, okay. So anytime I go into a book where there's this like, there's a woman and a man and like somebody's dead, the situation is always, okay, either the man killed someone, okay, and he's wrong for that. The woman killed someone and it was justified. That person needed to be dead and like we all were behind that and that was the right choice.
Hmm.
Or the woman killed someone and she's a bad archetype of like a crazy woman and it comes from a place of like just kind of sexism, honestly. Like I never feel like I read anything where I'm like, oh, the woman did it and that was really bad. And so
there's
it's like when
always
you
a
go
part of me
right,
that thinks good for her. You know?
yeah. And so as soon
We
as like
support women's rights and women's wrongs.
but I just like that's always the plot. There's never the woman is if it's in this book was written by a woman, so I had to assume like I did assume. I guess I didn't have to, but like I was like she's not going to do our girl Nina bad this way. Like this man is the problem. We all know that he's going to be the problem, and we just don't know how exactly he's the problem yet. Other than we know he locks people in a room and makes them piss in a bucket. Like we do know
We
that,
can
but
just go
we
ahead and assume it. Okay.
yeah,
I just
we
think we
know
should
that.
just
Well,
We
that's
know
the
that.
thing. I was getting mad at the author because I was like, if this doesn't twist, like if Nina is the actual villain, I was like, then I don't like this book.
I was like,
I was like,
then you're a
you knew that
sexist.
she
I
you
really
knew
I
you knew
really
that
felt
she had to
strongly
though,
about it.
because we do meet the husband. Like, okay, so Nina's super mean to Millie, and Millie's like, "Woe is me," but I'm gonna keep this job because I have no other options. And then
Mhm.
the husband comes home, and he's like a Calvin Klein model, and he's so nice. And I'm like, okay, red flag. I can tell you now, red flag.
Immediately.
I am with a perfect partner. I
Same,
actually do
same.
think that great men exist, but
Uh-huh.
they don't in fiction. Okay.
No,
And
never.
this red flag, this man is evil. We should know it now.
right,
Absolutely. If the
especially in
piss
a
bucket wasn't
thriller.
enough, if the piss
No.
bucket wasn't enough for you, now that we've met him, now you know, okay? He's very charming, he's very handsome, he's well dressed.
And
Yeah.
he seemingly puts up with all of Nina's bad behavior and he
Yeah.
still loves her. Like she keeps being like, I can't believe that he loves Nina. And I know that Nina is being a monster. So I get why she was like confused by that. But also I was like, can you like lay off Nina? Can you just lay off
Yeah.
Like
She
we
was
don't
Millie?
like, yeah, she's like, Nina's crazy and fat. I can't believe he's with her. I'm like, oh God.
Bitch.
We're stuck in the early
Right.
2000s.
Maybe that's when
But
maybe
I
that was
guess
when
Millie
she went to
is.
jail,
I was gonna
because
say.
the last thing that she saw was that People magazine shaming like Jessica Simpson, and then she was in jail, and that was like how she didn't get the chance to like develop one more body positive like attitude.
It's so true. I think about that
Disclaimer.
Jessica Simpson People article
We all
every
do.
day.
Even
We all
better,
do.
even better. She didn't even get to develop body neutrality. We just never even had
Right.
to comment on it.
No.
Right. She didn't have any of those chances, you know. So
Yeah.
No.
of course, because she didn't have the chance to read all the thrillers that we did, and she didn't get the chance to
Yeah.
develop body neutrality, and she didn't flag the piss bucket, of course, she starts falling in love with the hottie husband Andrew, and she
Uh-huh.
also is like wanting to fuck the gardener. Like the gardener is all
It's both.
throughout this.
It's
It's
both.
This was
Yes.
both.
a
He's
weird
there. He's there.
this was a weird plot point to me because she's
Yes.
like, understandably, she's like, I've been in prison for 10 years, haven't banged anybody, can't bang the married guy. I guess I'll just go for this gardener. And she really does like make a full move on him. And
A
he is
full
like,
move.
I wish you hadn't.
Girl, that's embarrassing. Oh God.
Yeah,
And
it was
I
like, how did
really
she describe it? It was like, and I put my hand on his chest. Or it was like something like so blatant like that. And he was like repulsed by it and was like, no.
Right, okay, but he wasn't actually repulsed by it, and we will talk about this later because
Well, right,
I
right,
found
right.
out things through TikTok.
oh.
Oh,
Oh, because
what did
there's
you
two more
find out?
books, which I'll never
Because there's
read.
there's two more books that I'll never read. Or there might even be three more books, honestly. Like
So
I think one of them
does she
is the house.
inevitably fuck the gardener? Like they do end up together,
Well,
right?
I think they have to. I mean, again, we're talking
Yeah,
spoilers anyway, so it doesn't matter.
right.
But we find out that the gardener's actually in love with Nina. And like, understandably,
But not in
sure.
love with her enough to go with her in the end.
Right.
So
That
like,
all felt very contrived. Like I get it. I respect that Nina's like I need to be alone. I do
mhm.
respect that,
Yeah,
but
I do
No,
too. Like
totally.
she doesn't need to be in a relationship.
yeah. But he's
No.
like, I love you. Also, I'm gonna stay here.
Right. Yeah, it was
Well,
weird. It
okay,
was
we'll
weird.
get to that. I don't
Yeah.
think that he
Okay.
really loved her. Okay, we'll
No.
get to that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Millie
Yeah.
starts falling in love with Andrew. She thinks that Nina is super jealous of
Mhm.
like the vibes between Millie and her husband. So like Nina starts acting crazier. And then I feel like this all comes to a head when, oh, and by the way, Nina has a daughter. We haven't talked about her because nobody
Right.
cares about her. I
No,
don't care.
and
Oh, the
they're like,
daughter.
by the way, she's super weird and
Mhm.
maybe or maybe isn't allergic to peanut butter. And you're like,
Yes.
same. Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
They're like, she wears Victorian
Same, but
nightgown
with milk.
dresses.
Yeah, same. I wear the Victorian nightgown dresses, and I may or may not be deathly allergic to milk. And by deathly
She
allergic, I
did,
mean poop your pants allergic. But
Yeah.
yeah, she did
sorry.
remind me of you, Shay. I was like, that's Shay.
I'm like, okay, here's the thing it was just like, okay, like the problem is people don't write child characters well. I find I really haven't read very many books where I think you have ever spoken to an 8-year-old, you know?
Right.
And the girl is like intentionally antagonistic to Millie. And I'm like, I don't actually
Really,
know
right.
what
And
that
for
gets
why?
her. Like I don't
It doesn't
actually
get
know.
anything. And it doesn't make sense like later, which again, like spoilers, like we learn that, the daughter's social skills are weird because Andrew's a fucking monster who locks her mom in a closet with a piss bucket. But like her mom is like, and she, she's learned how to behave in a way that keeps me safe and keeps him from, she knows that I disappear if she disobeys or whatever. And I'm like, then why was she being a little fucking bitch the whole time with the nanny? Like, then why was she acting that way? Why was she like,
Listen, there's a lot of things. I don't want to say there's a lot. There's things that to me don't make sense about this book. The
yeah,
number one thing that doesn't make sense is the daughter's behavior. Like everything else,
agreed.
I feel like there's a reason for, and I
You
just
can be
don't
like,
agree with the
okay,
reason.
like I'm suspending the disbelief, and that's a stretch, but
Yes.
I'm
Right,
here for the
right, because
story. So
okay,
like,
so when Andrew is insane and quote unquote punishing his wife,
mhm.
the daughter, Cecilia, goes and stays with Andrew's mother.
Okay, we have to wait on that because that's a whole other thing
Oh,
that I need
that
to
is
talk
a
And
whole
about
that's what
other.
I'm
later.
saying. I have like so much more to talk about with that. So,
Okay,
ugh.
okay, so let's
So
move it
anyways,
move it along then.
Susanna's
Yeah,
there,
we're
whatever.
Okay.
Andrew and Millie fall in love. No one is surprised.
No.
they go to a Broadway play together when Nina
Okay, this
is
was my question.
away.
Was this a real Broadway play or is this a made up Broadway play? I didn't even Google it.
It's a
I don't
made
know.
up Broadway play because I've
Okay.
never heard of it and I would know.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, I'll ask Maggie.
No, it's got to be made up. I didn't Google it either, but it's got to be a made up Broadway musical because I've never even freaking heard of it. So it can't be the toast of the town.
Yeah.
Anywho,
So
they go to
this is the thing. In order to go out, she doesn't have anything to wear because she's been in prison for 10 years. So she
Right.
wears one of the dresses that Nina gave her. And then Andrew's like eyeing her the entire night. And then oh no, they drink too much wine. And then they have sex in a hotel room.
Mhm.
right, and this is the first point in the book where I'm like, oh, like I think Millie is supposed to be really hot. Like I didn't get that from her before, but like I think she's supposed to be real hot.
No,
Because her
I got the
parole officer goes, "You're
yes,
really pretty. You should date people.
yeah,
You shouldn't
that's what
settle.
I was
You shouldn't
like.
settle because you're really pretty."
I guess
I
my
was
first
like, okay.
well, I always assume that in a book of this type that the protagonist is pretty, but like pretty and doesn't know it, or like pretty and not confident about it, or like pretty in a plain way because she doesn't wear makeup. Like I just kind of always assume that because
But
it just is like so
Millie knows she's pretty because
yeah,
Millie's like, "I wore ugly glasses the first day
to
because
ugly
I
myself
didn't."
up.
Uh-huh.
Right, and I thought maybe she was being like
Yeah.
weird and conceited. I was like, that's a weird choice, but like, okay. But then like when she puts on Nina's old clothes to go to the Broadway show and Andrew's like, I can't keep my eyes off of you. I was like, I guess she must be so fucking hot. Like this bitch is hot. So
And
we
here's the
now know
thing.
that.
Nina,
Yeah.
this is another like again, this is another red flag that Millie should have had, which is that okay, she's wearing the wife's clothes and they're like
Mhm.
both blonde and they were both pretty.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, Nina's only sort of pretty now, allegedly. I'm sure
Cause
Nina's
she's
still,
fat.
yeah, because God forbid.
Well,
And
size 12.
yeah, and so dumb.
Me and my size 12 pants sitting right here.
And you're beautiful.
Thank you.
And so like I'm just like I feel like Millie should be grossed out. Like I once dumped a guy because all I found out that all of his ex-girlfriends were redheads. And I was like, well, we're not doing that,
Yeah, like
you
ooh.
know?
Mm.
So I was like,
Agree.
okay, well he just has like a type for like blondes.
Yeah.
Right, which he
He
does.
does
And
have a type. He does have a
Yeah.
type, and we learn
he
more about
does.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyways,
Mhm.
that's I feel like a red flag we should have, but it's too bad they sleep together and they go home and they're like, hee, we have this secret, we're bonded forever.
Oh
Like
my gosh.
And
Ooh.
then we learn that Nina must know that they've
yeah.
gone to the play because A, the playbill that Millie saved because she's an idiot. Why would you save the playbill if you're trying to keep this a
Because
secret?
she was in love.
Right. So that playbill got pulled out of her purse and laid on to like her nightstand. And so now Millie knows that Nina has been in her room. She's seen the playbill. And then the other thing is that Andrew did not know. So Millie is under the assumption that neither Nina nor Andrew know that she has been to prison, which is why she has been hired for this job, is that they don't know that. So then at some point after the Broadway play, because Nina's been pissed off about it, Millie makes dinner for them. And Nina's like eating the dinner and she goes, wow, this food is so much better than the prison food I'm sure you ate, Millie. And I was like, oh my God.
And
She went after
Yeah.
her.
I could not figure out like what we were doing there. Of course, like it's I still think the justification is quite tenuous, which is just like sort of to give Andrew like leverage on Millie is by like being like, oh, well, she was in prison and she might not have any other options after this. But like the way that we disclosed that information was just like so insane on
Well,
Nina's part that I just was
right, but
like,
I think Nina wanted it to look like she was, revealing this to damage Millie, and that in turn helps turn Andrew against Nina, which we all learn is
Right.
her
So
goal.
spoiler, yeah, like Andrew's type that he has is like, beautiful blonde women who are victims, who like
Who have no
people
options, who have
who have
no
no
support
options, who
system.
right, who people like to disrespect, and it like turns it's like his special kink if you're mean to them, and he sees it.
Yes, that's the other weird thing is that it's his
Mhm.
kink if someone's mean to the person who's the victim and who like can't stand up for themselves because then he swoops in and saves them. Because we
Right. So after
do,
this
Saws it with the piss
this blow
bucket.
up, so
yes.
Nina reveals that Millie's a criminal, and then doesn't Andrew just be like, okay, let's get a divorce?
Okay, so kind of, but not really. There
Is
is
there like
time
two
in
more scenes?
between.
Okay, there's two more scenes.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's time in between, but that is like, so basically Nina reveals that Millie is like a convict and then I guess they have like a big fight because Nina cannot have any more children,
Mhm.
right? And then,
Yes.
oh, yeah, so they have that big fight because Nina can't have any more children and Andrew wants children. But then the other thing that happens is that Nina calls Millie down like a day or two later and is like, Millie, you stole my clothing.
Accuses her of stealing the size 6 and 8 dresses.
Right, but
Huh?
Nina had previously given Millie that
Yes.
clothing,
Mhm.
and that's like the clothing that Millie wore to the Broadway play or whatever. But because Nina is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, this all plays really well. It seems like Nina is going to fire Millie for stealing her clothes, when in actuality, that's not what
Mhm.
happens. And that's when Andrew comes down and is like, I'm sticking up for Millie, and we're going to get a divorce. And we're all like, oh my God. Not really. Like, we knew that at some point Nina had to be thrown out, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
so Nina gets thrown out,
Hmm.
which is then when, like, for me, like, I knew this was going to happen, but also I wasn't totally expecting a complete point
Hmm.
of view shift
Yes.
Yeah.
because that's which I actually thought was really good because it was actually really reminiscent of Gone Girl because there is an entire
Hmm.
point of view
That
shift.
does have a good POV
But
shift.
it's
Yeah.
also Gone Girl. She's like how to lose your abusive husband in 10 days or whatever, 10 ways or
Yeah.
what, you know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
like she literally does like the Gone Girl monologue.
A little,
Yes.
a little.
No,
Yeah.
she
A
does
bit, a bit,
actually.
a bit.
Just a
Yeah. A
tiny
bit.
bit.
A bit. It got
Yes.
tough.
Well, because I legitimately, because I love Gone Girl, I've read Gone Girl, I've seen the movie Gone Girl. It is very reminiscent of Gone Girl in that moment, and I was like,
Hmm.
okay, Frida, like we need to, talk. But I did love the point of view change, and I loved that Nina basically like opens. Nina's in a hotel room. She's like burning a picture
No, okay,
of
so I have a
Andrew.
question about this. So yes,
Yes.
Nina's in her hotel room. She's like, I'm finally alone for the first time in however many years without my husband, blah, blah, blah. She's like, I pick up a lighter and also another thing. And like this is the thing with this thriller is that the entire time Frida's like, I'm trying to write in first person, but also suggests the idea that there's something suspenseful happening. So she'll be like, I picked up this item and also another item. And then like a couple of pages later, they're like, and also the item was this. And you're like, I think we could have just said that. So
I
She
she
could have just
blocked
said
burns,
this
it.
out of my mind completely. I
yeah.
don't remember this scene at all. What was the
Yes.
item?
So she burns a photo of
The
Andrew and
picture.
she's like,
Yes.
Right.
Andrew gave me this photo question mark. But why do we burn the photo? It's just symbolism. She's like, I'm a free woman because
He's doing a spell.
nothing else happens with
Yeah.
that.
No,
I
yeah,
thought
I think Nina is just out. Like she's whooping it up, you know? She's like, burn that picture of that asshole.
Mhm.
but she was like that. We built it up. She's like, I picked up a lighter and also another thing. Or no, she was like, I picked up the photo and also another
Oh,
thing. And
another
I went
thing.
into the bathroom and the other thing was a lighter. And you're like, okay.
Oh, what the
Shay,
I
I
just like
cannot
blocked
believe
that whole part out.
I can't believe it either because I actually was like, you go, girl. I was like, good for her. Burn that picture. So she burns the picture and we learn right in this moment that Andrew, of course, is the
Of
problem,
course,
as
he's
we
the
all
villain.
knew he would
As we
be,
all knew all along, the instant
because he's a
we
man.
caught one whiff of that piss bucket, we knew.
We flagged that piss bucket right
Unbelievable.
away. So he's the villain, and now we get Nina's point of view of what has happened before Millie came into the picture, how she met Andrew, and like basically that this was all Nina's plan to get Andrew out of her life. And it was actually, it made me like Nina so much more. I was like, damn, I have fucking respect for Nina, because Nina was like, she was getting her master's degree and she accidentally got pregnant. She dropped out of school and was like, I'm going to support this baby. Like, I was like, damn, Nina's a badass bitch. Like, she is killing it. But,
Well, and this is
then,
how like crazy becoming a mother makes you. Because like me as someone who before I had children, like obsessed with like true crime and like mysteries and murder shows and all that, like I cannot really consume that kind of stuff anymore. It's very upsetting to me. And uh basically we like Andrew uses the baby against her to control her like that. He's always like
yes.
threatening the baby, like that's his power that he has a lot of power over her, but like that is his biggest like source of power is she has this baby and she needs to be there for the baby. And like I got so upset reading some of those parts, like I was like, if she's in the closet with the piss bucket, like where is it?
The
And she was
baby,
like,
the baby is with Andrew's mother.
No,
and
don't talk about it.
and he was like, the baby's in the crib. And I was like, that would not have been good enough for me. And like, I know it wasn't good enough for Nina either. Like, she was like, obviously very distraught by that. But the way I would have been, I mean, there wouldn't have been a door. I guess I come from a place of privilege because I've never been locked in a piss bucket closet. But just, I was so anxious about that baby the whole time. Even like knowing this is a fictional book, knowing
Right,
that,
I did warn you. I was reading the book first, and I
yeah,
even sent out trigger warnings
yeah.
to Shay because I knew that children bother her. I was like, there are some distressing child baby
I
scenes.
was distressed by the baby situation, and I just was like, I whatever he gets, good. I hope that, because that is hideous.
Well, and
Yeah,
can we talk about like, because I have to say, this is what I don't want to say that I like it. I'm not saying that I like it because that's going to sound weird. And I do want to say that I'm not even sure if I respect, I don't know what I'm saying here. I will say
okay.
that
Just say it. Just
I
say it.
expected this book to take a turn and that Andrew was going to be the villain. What
Mhm.
I did not suspect was that Andrew and Nina would get married, and then because she let her roots grow out, she has blonde hair, she let her roots grow out, that he would lock her in the attic and make her pull out 100 pieces of her own hair and stuff it in an envelope and slide it under the door for him.
Well, because hair is a privilege.
Right. Well, so this is one of those moments where I was like, Frida, you got me there, bitch. I was like,
I
did
I
not
felt
see that coming.
I felt the opposite. I felt the opposite. I guess like I did agree that like I didn't see that coming. Like I knew he was gonna torture her and play mind
Right.
games when she was in
You
the
knew
piss
that she was
bucket.
gonna have to pluck
No,
out her
no, I
hair and
didn't
put it
know
in an
that.
envelope.
But
Shay
but
is not good at predicting.
I didn't predict that. That was a lot. But I was like, I wanted him to be a believable level of fucked up, I guess, because like there's so many just like regular, like fuck I didn't say regular. Like there's plenty of like fucked up abusive assholes who do like regular fucked up abusive asshole things that like those things are hideous and awful. Like that was so out of left field. Like what?
Well,
Like
but
it
Shay,
took me out of it. It took me out of it. I was like,
Shay,
that's too far.
okay,
That's ridiculous.
no,
That is
because
too far.
no, you know, as a true crime person, that people do even weirder shit, and we don't have to get totally into it because Maggie B is not a true crime girly. But there was like literally that man who kept that woman in a box under his bed for like 20 years or some shit. So I'm like, this is easy. Like all she had to do was pull out some hair out of her head. I mean, it's awful. I'm just saying
No,
though
but
that
All
like
to do is
that
piss
is
in the bucket.
all
but
she had
also
to
that was
do.
like he was a creepy guy who picked that girl up when they were like hitchhiking. Like there's like a whole backstory with that where you're like, oh no, that tracks for him. I don't buy that you're gonna go full on go through like I'm marrying him. We're very happy. I love him. There's no signs, and then all of a sudden I'm pulling out my individual hairs. I could see all of a sudden he snaps and he hits me and he puts me in
Mm.
his bucket closet. Okay, I don't see 100 hairs or how many hairs it was. I
Shay,
don't do
like
that. It
literally,
was too
like
far.
Jeffrey Dahmer exists. You're shocked by the hair. I'm like, I'm not like anyone could do that. Any evil person could tell
But
me,
anybody who
take
met
out your
Jeffrey
hair.
Dahmer was like, oh, something not right with him. Like,
I mean, that's fair.
how are these smart and strong and capable women who are scrappy and who have like been through things, like, and not just shaming women, like this, it's coming out in a wrong way, but I just feel like there would have been signs if he was pull 100 hairs out of your head. There would have been signs before
No,
marriage.
Shay's victim shaming. That's it. That's the
No,
podcast. Shay
I'm not.
doesn't
No,
believe Nina.
no, I like obviously like men put women in bad situations every day, and especially women who like Nina and like Millie,
Millie.
do not have resources, and they leverage, and maybe this is just, maybe that is the metaphor, like his absolute like over the top disgusting like weirdo-ness is like the metaphor for that maybe.
Mm.
But to me it was too far. It was like,
The thing,
that is so extreme out
I
of nowhere.
I 100% am like, I believed the twist because again, it was a thriller. I was like, of course it's going to be something insane. Like it's not just going to be that he
Mhm.
beats her up. It's going to be something insane.
Yeah.
And like, of course, we knew something was going to happen, but like, I am so much more willing to enjoy like fantasy nonsense. Like, they'll be like,
Mhm.
people breathe underwater. And I'm like, of course they do, And then I read this and they were like, he locks her in a room and does these insane things and then has a super contrived plan to keep her locked in the room. All things that really do happen, right? Like 100%. But the minute we
Yeah.
like got to that twist in the book, I was like, I can't possibly suspend my disbelief long enough to like read this section of the book. I was like, oh, okay. We pull out 100 hairs, and he somehow contrives that like she almost drowned her baby, and then spent some time in the psych ward, and like all these things that like didn't that he set up so that people would never believe her. And I was like, again, like Shay said, probably a metaphor for like much more nuanced situations that
Yes.
happen in the real life. But it was just one of those things where I was like, wow, I'm way more willing to suspend my disbelief for like any
For
other
fairies.
genre.
Yes.
Like fairies doing it in the sky. I love it. But shutting her up in that closet, making her pull out her hair. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So
Even
like
just, I don't know. Yeah, the hair was too far for me.
she puts up with a bunch of it. He's absolutely insane.
Yeah, he does
And then
insane punishments to her that are like actually not so, and she ends up spending time in a psych ward
And he
because he
gaslights her
frames her.
so hard. Yeah, he gaslights her
Yeah.
so hard that she actually believes that like that was delusional content, like her own
That was
delusional
one of the
content.
worst parts for me was like
Yeah.
I really felt bad for Nina that he gaslit her to the point where she believed that she did have a psychotic break and that he hadn't done any of the things that he did to her because like she was institutionalized for so long. And then when she comes out of the institution and he's like playing the supportive husband, he again locks her in the closet, has another punishment for her, which that punishment, I was like, I could do that easy. It
I
was
don't
like be in
remember
the
what that one
dark.
was.
It was like be in the dark or be with these super bright bulbs. And I was like, I could be in the dark for days.
Because she left a light
Absolutely.
on, and light is a privilege or
Light
something
is a
dumb like that.
privilege. Yeah, like he just punishes her. I mean, he just gets off on punishing her.
Yeah.
And she even
Well, and
says
how
that it
long did
doesn't
it take
matter.
him to install those lights? Where did he get those lights? Like, she left a light on yesterday and he went to the Lowe's and was like, give me the brightest light that you have.
Well, he's
And
like
like all
uber
I have to
rich.
say, there's no way that Andrew's like handy enough to do all that on his own,
Right?
which means like
He would have to have a
that
contractor to do that
he's got
in his
some
piss
task
bucket
rabbit
closet.
that he's hired to like come and black out the window. Like,
Well, so and here's something that's happening that's important is that, Nina cannot tell any of her friends because she even tries this once and the friend, Andrew has already gotten to all of her friends and said Nina is prone to psychotic issues. Like if she tells you that I'm trying to kill her or murder her, then it's a sign that something's wrong with her. So you need to tell me so that way I can reinstitutionalize her. So really, she can't go to anyone. So she wants to just say it out loud because she feels so trapped in her life. So she tells the gardener, Enzo, because he doesn't speak any English.
Mhm.
Allegedly, he speaks no English. So she tells him, my husband locks me in the attic, and then we find out that
And abuses
Enzo,
me.
yeah,
Yeah.
and abuses me,
Makes me
and
pull out my hair.
Enzo makes me pull out my hair and turns the lights off and makes me pepper spray myself in the
Oh yeah,
face.
that was bad. Like, ooh, like
Yeah,
what?
I know. But so she tells Enzo this, and Enzo is like, actually, I speak English very well. I just pretend not to speak English because I don't want to talk to my
Because
clients,
I'm
which makes a
because
lot
I'm
of sense.
so I mean, honestly, this was the realist. He was like, I'm a really handsome man, and if I speak to my clients, all the women come on to me
They harass me.
inappropriately. And I
Yeah,
was like, honestly, that's real. I
yeah,
believe you,
absolutely.
Enzo. I stand with
Right.
Enzo.
Right.
He's like, what a coincidence. That story makes me very angry because my own sister was like murdered by an abuser
In
and
Italy. And he's like, and
in
then I
Italy.
fled to the United States.
Huh.
But
This is
didn't
where
he
I was
flee
like,
because he hurt the abuser of his sister too? Didn't he like I don't know if he
Yeah.
killed him, but he beat the shit out of the
I think
man who
he meant
abused
to
his
kill him. That's
sister.
his whole thing is he was like, let me kill your husband because I should have killed this other guy.
Hmm.
And you're
That's right.
like, okay.
Hmm.
Right.
I just feel like we should have like other options in between everyone having to die. Right? I don't think Andrew should live. I'm just saying, couldn't we like Enzo could pick up Cecilia from school and then we could all like evade, like
Well,
Well,
right. Why wasn't that like they
I
have all
think there
these.
was some justification about then he could call Andrew could call it kidnapping or something like that. You know what I mean? Like a psychotic break for Nina.
right. Well, there's something about and listen, she honestly did a pretty good job in the book of justifying like why they couldn't run away because Andrew like she had already been institutionalized. Andrew could say like, "Hey, this woman's not well. She has our child, even though it wasn't Andrew's child, actually, like he never adopted
Right, he
her.
never
And
adopted her. So was all her family dead? Was that because you can just say like
yes, her
Yeah, her
parents died in
parents
a plane
died.
crash.
Yes, how convenient.
They did.
oh.
I remember that. But so basically, Enzo's on her team. He's like, yeah, like let's come up with a plan. He's saying this in a hot Italian. I almost tried to do an Italian accent. I was like, I
Don't
can't do
do
that.
it.
No
Don't do it.
accents.
Yeah.
No accents. He's like, let's come up with a plan to get you out of here. They try to come up with a plan. The plan fails. And so then Nina is like, I'm never going to escape any other way except and now I have to find Andrew a replacement for myself so that he tires of me and he gets with this new hottie that I bring in and then I'll be free. And Enzo is like, that's fucked up. He's
Yeah,
like,
Enzo's
you
like
should
red
does
not
not
flag.
do
support
that.
the plan. Does not support
Enzo's
the
like
plan.
red flag. He's like, you're gonna
Hmm.
subject somebody else to the piss bucket, and she's like, I will. I'll subject anyone to the piss
all
bucket.
day, all
Yeah.
day and night. I'll subject them to that piss bucket. But I really do think so much of it is driven by like her
The
daughter because
child,
she,
absolutely. Because
yes,
I, unfortunately, I get like someone. If it was between like my daughter having to live with Piss Bucket Man and like a stranger, I mean,
she
like
was
the
like,
it's
I would put any woman in a piss
Here's the
bucket
thing. I know.
situation.
I don't want to like. I would
okay.
tell you I enjoyed this book, but I will tell you she did her best to try and make everything as justified as possible.
She did
You're
her
like,
best.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
Well,
here's the thing, but Nina does not find just anybody, okay, to be the replacement. Okay, Nina finds Millie, who we learn is a killer.
right. Well,
Surprise!
Nina does a background check on her and finds out that she's a killer, and Nina like rubs her hands together
He's like,
like a
this is
villain.
actually perfect because I I imagine, or I'm psychic, okay, like I'm using my psychic abilities, I'm calling upon them to see that because she killed once before 10 years ago, she's gonna kill my husband
And
when he starts that weird hair pulling shit.
this
She's
is
gonna just
where
kill
they
him.
lost me. Okay, Nina's like, and I know she's a murderer, so she'll
She'll
murder
take care of
again.
it. She'll
And I
kill
was
him.
like,
She'll
what?
kill him for sure.
That one's a bit of a leap. That
Well,
one's
and
like,
and Enzo is like, we can't do this, and Nina is literally like, why not? She doesn't have children. She's a previous murderer. She's just gonna murder this guy all over again. I'm like, what? But she follows through. I
yeah.
mean,
So then
she
she's like,
sticks to the plan.
she reveals
Mhm.
big big mask pull off. She's like, I haven't been crazy this whole entire time. I've been intentionally crazy to make Millie hate me so that Millie will be driven towards Andrew and Andrew will be driven towards Millie. And really, I'm the puppeteer. And
The
you're
whole
like,
time.
The
yeah,
whole time.
You're like, of
yeah,
course
you're
she
like,
was the puppeteer. Obviously. What other that was
yeah,
day one. We knew that. Okay.
I
yeah.
didn't
Day
know
one we knew that.
how. I didn't know how she was going to be the puppeteer, but I knew she
But
was
you knew.
the
We all
puppeteer.
knew.
Yeah, we
Right.
Yeah,
For
knew that she was
sure.
the puppeteer, and I did. I don't know whether the payoff was good enough, but it was but I thought there was some pretty big revealing going on. I will say that there was lots of, especially because then, oh my God, my favorite part that I was like, what is happening in this book all of a sudden is that Enzo comes in once Andrew leaves Nina. Well, so he's divorcing his wife, and now he's like getting together with Millie. Enzo like runs to Nina's hotel room after she's burned her picture of Andrew, and then they fuck. And he's like, I've always wanted to do this. I was like, the fatty? The
I
size
know.
12? But
He
Enzo
was
was in. And I was like,
he
you know
was
what?
down bad.
Yeah, I was like, you know what, Frida? Maybe you know what you're doing. Because the hottie gardener that all the ladies in the neighborhood want to fuck, he's with quote unquote fat Nina. And I loved it. I was like, come
Oh,
over
poor
here,
Nina.
Enzo.
My favorite thing, it truly is, you're like, beautiful. You a little bit of romance. And then post coitus, he's like, we have to save that girl.
Yeah, he can't let that go. And that's the whole thing is like Enzo is like he's not really he's never on board with the plan, really. But he supports Nina. And so then you like think back to all those times where he's like whispering into Millie, danger, danger, you're in danger here.
Pericolo!
And it's like
Pericolo!
you're like, do you think Nina would have like still been with you, Enzo, if she knew how hard you were trying to sabotage her situation?
Well,
Like,
so that, and so then
Enzo.
earlier, right, when he went into the house to like help Millie bring a heavy box in, and
Mhm.
then um she's like, later Nina comes down and is like, the gardener was in here. I don't want him in here. And you're like, so you don't trust him to not tell
Did not even
Millie.
think about that until right now, but you that's exactly
Yeah,
why she acted that way because she was like, that little bitch Enzo is in here
yeah,
warning my murderer, my husband murderer, about my secret plan.
yeah.
And so like Nina is like, I'm not gonna tell. So no, I'm not gonna save Millie. Like Millie doesn't have kids. Like she's a murderer. She's gonna be fine. And so Nina is like, I'm actually just gonna go. I don't remember. Like, why does Nina decide? Like, oh, because then Enzo comes to her right before Nina is gonna leave, and
And he's like, I
Enzo is
haven't
like,
seen her in days. Her car hasn't moved at all. Like,
he
Millie
said,
hasn't
there's
left the
a light on
house.
in the attic,
Uh-huh.
and
And Nina's
I
like,
love that. I was like,
damn
oh,
it. She's like, yeah, that's not good. That's the hair pulling stuff.
Yeah.
He's got her pulling the hair.
that's
Yeah.
And
the
then
pitch.
either before or after that, we then cut back to Millie's thing. And Andrew has locked her in there because she read some books and left them on the coffee table.
Oh,
And
that's right. And then
he's
he wants
like,
her to,
reading is a
yeah.
privilege.
Listen, this is another. I'm sorry, Andrew. I could be a way better torturer than you. This is an easy punishment. I was
I
like,
was
I
very
could
confused.
lay there
I would
with the
not try
stomach.
this, right? But yeah, her punishment was to lay on the floor with three heavy books on her stomach for like 3 hours, which sounds terrible. I'm not like advocating for it, but I
Yeah.
was like, what is this?
I know
Right,
Nina had to
like
pull out like 100 hairs twice. Like I would thought he
Yeah.
was
she
going to
pepper sprayed herself.
Yeah.
I
She
know.
pepper sprayed herself in the face, and all Millie has to do is lay there with some books on her stomach. She's like, "This is the worst pain I've ever been in." I was like, "I'm pretty sure I was in worse pain yesterday when I stubbed my toe." I was like, "I could lay on the ground with three books on me, no problem. The only punishment is that I would be bored. Like,
Right.
Well,
period.
so
That's what it is."
this is my other issue with someone who is like as someone who is good at predicting plots. I also am good at making up the plot that I think it should be and predicting that that's going to be what
Mm.
happens, and then it isn't, and then I'm mad because I'm like I feel like mine was better, and I was so sure he was going to make her eat the books. Like I thought he was
thought the
going to make her
exact same
eat
thing.
them
The minute
one
she
by
was like,
one, page
and
one by
one
one.
was a phone book or whatever, I was like, oh, she's gonna have to eat the whole phone book.
She's going to have
And
to eat
then
the whole
But
I was
why
like, she's
would
gotta
she
eat them
need
all.
to eat the phone book?
Because
Why? The
it's
privilege.
insane.
Why
I
did
don't know. I
Right.
just thought
Why
it
did you
was
have to pull out the hair? There's no rhyme or reason to it.
I'm sorry,
I
your
think it's
all
just like
psycho punishments doesn't make any sense.
I
That's all
just
I have to
put them
say.
on your stomach. I said, I'm sure that would be painful, but I thought it would be something worse.
I did too. I thought she was gonna have to eat the phone book 100%. That
Right.
was
Millie
page
never
by
would have made
page.
it. Millie never would have made it in Nina's prime days when she had to, pull the hairs out and pepper spray herself. So Millie is lucky that she got books on the abdomen punishment, okay? And then when
Right.
Andrew comes back in to like free her or whatever, Millie reveals that there was pepper spray in the piss bucket, which is another saying we need
Flag
to
the pepper
coin.
spray in the piss bucket. Woo!
Nina has left pepper spray in the piss bucket for Millie. And so Millie pepper sprays Andrew in the face and then locks him in the attic room with the piss bucket.
We are
So
glad. We
we
all
are
wanted it.
glad.
We wanted it from the moment he entered the house in his very first scene in his like snazzy little suit and his like quote unquote good guy routine. We wanted him pissing in the bucket. Like
We
we all
wanted that
wanted
piss
it.
bucket.
Here it is.
Here it
And
is. Bring it out.
then of course, like this is the part, honestly, the entire time. This is where I said, okay, so consistent character doesn't matter at all. Which is that then Millie reveals that not only has she murdered, which we knew, but she
Mhm.
murdered like other abusers and that kind of thing
Yeah.
because she says because there was a rage inside of her that didn't stop, right? So like she's like the first time I murdered, she was like my, friend in private school or whatever
Being
was
like sexually
getting like
assaulted.
assaulted, so I took a
Yeah.
paperweight and I murdered, like repeatedly
Just beat
hit
him
him,
to
right?
death.
She was like,
Yeah.
there was a rage inside me. Okay. So
Yeah.
then
We
she
love to
also
see it.
reveals like she
Let it
lost her
out.
job right out of prison because that someone was like a line cook was inappropriately hitting on her. And so she
Mhm.
decked him, right? Again, she's like,
Right.
there's a
Mhm.
rage inside of me. So that's fine. Great. What I don't understand is the rage inside of her did not come out any of the times that Nina was being absolutely insane the entire book. There's
It's
so
div-
many times where
no, it's
It's
I was
because
like,
divine
she's a
feminine
woman.
rage. That's right. It's
No,
divine
yeah,
feminine
that's
rage. It's
right. It's
safe for the
against
men.
men.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
men only.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Men
But the
only.
funny thing is, like, and she never thinks that. It's in a first person point of view. And never once does she think,
Oh,
normally this would send me into an absolute rage if Nina was a man, but I'm da da da. She's just like, oh, well, I'm going to let these things wash. I'm just going to let them run off. I'm like, okay,
she's an
so
unreliable narrator about her own rage.
we've just had a complete
Wow.
character reveal just to have a complete character reveal.
Right.
Mhm.
Like it is
Mhm.
odd that it was in first
Mhm.
person and we're discovering things that we
Yeah.
didn't
Because
know.
I'm
Like
like,
I'm like,
Nina's makes sense, right? We
Yeah.
watch Nina be insane, and then Nina's like, I was insane for a reason.
Just kidding.
But like, Millie's like, I went to prison, but I'm fine with all of this abuse from a woman, and that's fine. I'm going to put up with all of it. And then
I'm
she's
very
like, just
patient.
kidding.
I'm grateful for the opportunity. Just happy to
There's a
be
deep
here.
rage inside of me, and I'm
Mhm.
uncontrollable. And you're like, okay, I guess.
and like
Yeah.
she said that there was a deep rage inside of her, but like
She says
I
something
don't,
like that. Yeah.
yeah, no, she said that. And
Mhm.
then, but like
Mhm.
I don't think that I was quite prepared for how deep the rage went because listen, she made him then, she went back into
Mhm.
him and was like, now you have to put the books on your stomach. And he did that. And then she was like, no, now you have to put the books on your dick. And he put the books on his dick. And I don't have a dick. So maybe that hurt really bad. And then somehow we got on to now you're going to pull your teeth out with
Now
pliers.
you
Well,
are
so
gonna pull your teeth
this
out.
is the thing. She
Yeah.
did a bunch of the books over and over
Mhm.
again, and then he was like, I'm really thirsty. And she's like, suck it up. And then she's like, I went into the garage and I got
Got
something
the
else.
thing.
And then I went to the door and I slid the thing under. And it turns out it was pliers. I'm like, the whole time you knew it was pliers. And like, there is no grand reveal to that. Like, you might as well just be like, I got pliers. Like, that's more suspenseful. I'm like,
Mhm.
I thought, oh, she's going to make him rip his nails out. She was like, teeth.
Mhm.
And I'm like,
No,
there's
I
your
knew.
reveal. So,
Anytime
like,
that there's pliers, I'm like,
It's
teeth
teeth.
are
It's
coming
teeth.
out.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
always
For
assume it's
sure.
nails.
No, it's teeth.
No,
It's
I always think
always
teeth.
teeth.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
Mhm.
so she makes him pull out his teeth, which like I was like, again, here I am trying to make sense of the punishments. I'm like, that what is that? Like the
Yeah.
books were because he made you put the books on. You've just come up with the teeth thing all on your own.
Because of the deep rage
The
inside of her,
rage.
The
I
rage,
mean, pay
right.
attention.
So then it
The
kind of like
rage.
fades away. Like she's like, pull out your teeth, and like it's like
Well,
fade to
and I
black.
think that's like the
Nina.
sickness in me is I was like waiting for the climax. I was
yes,
like, what's she gonna do after the teeth? And then
No, I don't like that. That's too
I thought
much.
there was gonna be some grand murder. Like I was
instead she's like,
like,
anyways, I'm gonna go take a shower and a nap. I'm kind of tired.
and then you just kind of find out about like he died from dehydration. Like she just kept on making him pull out. They were like, he's missing a bunch of teeth and he's dehydrated. This is what the police say. And it's like
Well,
there was
so
no
okay.
grand murder.
Right.
Like
Well,
she just
so
left him in there and he kept on
Nina,
pulling out his
yeah,
teeth.
Nina comes back and is like, okay, I feel super
Yes, Nina
guilty.
comes back.
Ooh, nobody's home. Okay, I'll let myself in. She's like, ooh, nobody's home. So she goes
Mhm.
all the way up to the stairs and then she opens the door and he's like laying there. And then Millie just pops out of nowhere and is like, is he dead?
She's like, yeah,
And like
girl, he is
the
dead.
crazy thing is that like Millie now, like Millie has done all this. She's been in there for days with this man. I think it's like 6 days. And she's like, man, like he's dead. And then she panics. She's like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, well, you had 6 days to think about it, and you
You had
made him
some
pull out
time.
his teeth. Like, what do
Mhm.
you mean you don't know what to do? Then you should have like you weren't coming up with a backstory this whole time.
No,
So
she
then
has
Nina
no
has to come
plan.
up with it.
That's right.
Nina,
They need each other because Nina's the
yeah,
plotter and Millie
Nina's the
is the
brains
hammer.
and Millie's the
Millie's the
right.
rage.
pliers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
Nina, being like the boss ass bitch that she is, I'm sorry, I'm team Nina forever. Nina is like, okay, because I put you up to this because I knew you were a murderer. Why don't
Which
you
again,
just pretend
this part is the only
it
part
makes
that
no
just doesn't
sense?
work. It just doesn't work
No.
to be like,
No,
I
this
knew
is
you'd
crazy.
kill again. I'm like, you don't though.
Yeah.
You just didn't because you didn't even know why she murdered in the
No.
first place. You just
Right, right.
assumed. Like I like talk about a bias, okay? Like,
Right, right. Well, okay, so Nina's like literally like, okay, like you go scamper on now and you go somewhere. We'll say you were gone on vacation. And I am going to call the police and like Millie's like, and tell them what? And Nina's like, I don't know either.
I'll think of something. I did all this. I'll think of something.
right.
Well,
And like
she
she's like, so
did
she
say
calls
I've been
Enzo. She calls Enzo and she's
yes.
like, take care of my daughter.
Mhm.
Which I'm like, I'm sorry. Here's the thing. I know we're meant to see Enzo as like a good guy, but there's
You
just a
don't
part
know
of me
him.
that's
You're
like,
not
don't,
gonna.
you're gonna leave your child
No,
with a random, like, I'm sorry, you've really not
absolutely not.
tried.
After all this, you did
After
this
all
for your
this, for
child.
to be with the child and get the child in a better situation, and then you're like, just kidding. Mommy's going to the forever, closet with the piss bucket. Like,
Right. I was like,
Right.
why
no.
not be like Millie? Go get my daughter. Like I know Millie's a murderer, but I thought we were doing like a woman team up thing, right? Like now Nina's like,
Yes.
I'm taking the fall. So you have to watch my daughter. Like
I
you
don't know
need to
I
about that
raise
thought
yet.
her.
for sure.
I
I
don't
thought
know.
for sure that it was going to be women teaming up, and I was so excited for the woman team. Like when I first started reading the book, I was
Yeah.
like, man, Millie and Nina are going to get together and just kill this pissant. And like that is not what happened, but that's what I wanted. But basically, I mean, Nina did like she said like, listen, I've been institutionalized before. Like I can make that up as an excuse, I guess. Like she had some flimsy like idea, I guess, of where this was going. So this to me, as piss buckets aside, hair pulling aside, all of this aside,
Mhm.
this is where I got pissed off. This is where you lost me.
Okay.
Is she calls the cops,
Uh-huh.
and we find out that Nina is the narrator from the beginning of the book. She's the
Mhm.
one sitting on the couch. The cops are in the house. They found the body upstairs. The cop is interviewing her, and we find out that the cop that's interviewing her is the father of Andrew's ex-fiance, which we heard about like 2 times in this book. I knew that something was going to pop
I
up
was
with the
gonna say,
ex-fiance.
when we got to the end and we had not heard about the ex, I was like, the cop is either the new husband of, or related to friend's father somehow of the because we have
Well,
no
I
she
thought
was a plot
Nina,
device. We don't know about her yet. Like we only have 2 pages left for that to matter.
right. I
So
thought Nina would like get arrested, but that maybe then like Andrew's ex-fiance would come out of the woodwork to testify at her trial
mm,
or something. But no, the cop that's interviewing Nina is Andrew's ex-fiance's father,
And he's
who
like, and it's not even a good, he's like, yeah, my daughter was just never the same after that. No, like, yes, I know that he did this, but he's like too rich to like get away. You know, he's been getting away with it. Like, no, he's
mm.
just like, yeah, my daughter was just like never the same after being
Oh no, I think
engaged to
he knew
him.
though. I think that was what he was. It was a euphemism that he was
I
going
don't
Sure.
for.
know, Shay.
I don't think so
I
though.
don't
He's
know
just
Oh,
kind of
okay.
either.
like,
I thought he was saying like she was never quite the same after that
no, he's
because
like,
he
yeah,
like
she doesn't,
knew.
she just like doesn't talk to us. She moved really far away and she doesn't talk to us anymore.
Well,
Like,
he said, like, I
Mm.
came to this neighborhood because I had a feeling that he had to do with it. Because I feel like if he would have known that had gone on,
Oh my
then
gosh,
he
I
would.
read this so wrong. I read it completely differently. The whole thing for me, I read it as him being like tongue in cheek. I had a feeling
oh
I
no,
might discover. That's how I read that.
No,
yeah.
I was
I
like,
think
No,
that he knew
he's
something
okay,
went
basically,
on.
yeah. He's like, I
Yeah.
think that he's a
okay.
bad guy, but I don't have like solid proof. Because like really, this
Mhm.
could have been a whole other book where like, right, it could have been taken, you know, it could have been taken too, where he's like, you have
I
something,
will
you have
find you and I will kill you.
Because literally,
But
like
literally,
she
like he
steals.
just was like, oh, like I think something's going on. So I'm gonna like station myself near where Andrew lives. And if there's anything that goes on, I'll be there. And so then somehow this cop, even though there's a man upstairs in the attic with
covered in
missing teeth,
covered in weird
his
bruises,
yeah, his
dehydrated,
junk is
and
all
missing
bruised,
teeth.
missing teeth. The cop is able to make it so that the guy accidentally locked himself in the attic. That Andrew died from accidentally locking himself in the attic, and that is like that's
Right. And
that's
though,
No,
the
I
and
don't
it's
know.
solution.
like
I've seen
this
Making a
part's
Murderer. I believe it. That
this
was
part's
believable to me.
really odd because he's also like Nina's like, but his family has connections into the police. And he's like, but so do I as a cop. And I'm like, it seems really hard to cover up that forensic report.
It was
Like that
a lot of
is like
forensics.
really hard. Like you're telling
Mhm.
me, like one person let slip, like, oh, also he was missing teeth, and a very rich family is going to be like, great, do an investigation.
Well, but this is where
This
it
is the
comes into
ultimate
play.
twist. The
This is the
ultimate twist.
ultimate twist, which I gotta say, I didn't see coming because I think it's insane.
I think it's
I think
stupid.
it's,
I'm
I
sorry,
think it's,
respectfully, it
It was
was dumb.
stupid.
But
Agreed.
like, yes. So Nina's like, I don't know how I got away with this, but I guess I have to go to his funeral.
she was like,
Like,
I have to
girl,
pretend like I'm
Yeah,
his grieving wife because he
yeah,
accidentally locked himself in the attic and pulled out all of his teeth
like, no,
and
you
bruised his
don't. Just
junk.
leave. Just
yeah,
go. That's crazy, but
But
okay.
no,
yeah.
she
Because
goes
she's
to
gonna leave
the
town
funeral.
anyways after it.
Right.
But right, so
What?
she
No
goes to the
one.
funeral.
Okay.
She
She's
goes
like,
to
I
the
don't think my
funeral.
daughter should be here. She's like, Enzo, take my daughter. I'm like, again, stop leaving your daughter with just like a man. Like, begging you.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
and
Agreed.
then at the funeral, she is like hugging the mother-in-law, who the mother has been like in Andrew's life this whole time. The mother has been watching Cecilia, the daughter. Andrew's mother
She
has
texted, don't forget, she texted Nina to let her know that she was getting fat.
yes, yes. I mean, the mother, like we knew, is like the mother is like a bitch, but like the mother
Yeah,
has
we
been
did.
present throughout this, and the mother is seemingly been like on Andrew's ass this whole time, as in like she's obsessed with Andrew. Like, is the impression that I got is that the
Yeah, like
mother like
mommy's
loves
boy.
Andrew.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's a
he's a
boy
mommy's
mom.
boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Hashtag boy
boy
mom.
mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Um,
is. Yeah.
and so then the mother like comes up to Nina and is
Well,
like,
no, wait,
I
wait.
no,
This
you
is
go.
they come up first, like the parents together. And the dad, she's like, the dad's distraught. He's crying. He has to excuse himself. And the
Mhm.
mother turns to me. And then you pick up. But I'm like, I have to because I want to revisit that dynamic in a sec.
Right. So then the mother like says something along the lines of like, I know that he had teeth missing. And Nina freezes up like, oh my God, like she's gonna
Hot.
come after me. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
caught. Like, but then the mother's like, I told him to floss when he was a child and teeth were a privilege. I'm glad you taught him a lesson. And
And she
like,
was like, I made him pull out a baby tooth. I'm glad you're upholding the thing too.
so now we learn that Andrew's mother is probably the root of his insane, punishment system. Andrew's mother made him pull baby teeth as a child. I'm like,
And
what the fuck?
Like
that doesn't sit right with me. I don't like
before we even
it
get
doesn't
to
sit
the
right with
like
me.
weird trope that is like villains beget villains, right? Like although it does happen, but like
Right.
before we get to that weird justification trope, I have to address like multiple things. First of all, I have to assume that she, as Andrew's mother, knew that Andrew was punishing Nina in this way because
Right.
Andrew kept being like, "Hey, you have to watch Cecilia for 3 days at a time," right? Like I felt like we
Mhm.
knew this was happening, right? So
I
then
didn't even think about
did
that. Oh
she
my
also
God.
assume then that like Nina was also punishing Andrew back? Like, do you know what I mean?
That
Like was it like a, oh well, you're in trouble today because lights are a privilege, but then Nina's supposed to be like, well, you're in trouble because ironing your shirts is a privilege. Like was she assuming that they were like mutually policing each other, or like, do you understand what I mean?
Yes, and I am
And
like
then
flabbergasted because I did
yeah,
not think of this.
and then the second part is the entire book, and I wonder if
Mhm.
this is for like people like Shay that we're trying to be like, hey, we're not going that dark. We're going dark, we're just not going that dark. That everyone kept being like, well, Cecilia's with Andrew's mother, but she's fine. Like, she's fine. Right? So I'm like, you're telling me that this woman
She
was
must have
comfortable
been doing
abusing her
that shit.
son, but
Yeah.
wasn't pulling the same shit with Cecilia?
Right. Right.
I,
No.
it
I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I
I
don't
didn't
and
like that
obviously
part.
I'm biased, but
Yeah.
I don't
No.
like the crazy mom like abusing children like trope
So then
and
there's
like the
that.
mom
And
is
then
the villain in the end. Like, ooh,
I have
no.
to know, was the father aware of all of this?
And it seems like he was. I guess I shouldn't say that because I don't know because we don't like. Where were you, Dad? He was an absentee father. Like he was
I
just
guess.
making
Like, I'm
money, I
like,
guess.
or is he being abused? Like, because it says that he had surgery and then the mom is like taking care of him, which is why she can't be up Andrew's ass all the time anymore.
Oh my
And
gosh,
it's like,
maybe.
is she like, feet are a privilege? Like what? Like, what's
I
the?
mean, I
I just
Oh
couldn't
my
decide.
who
God.
could say?
Like was he so distraught because he didn't know that his son was like a villain, but also knew that his son like was being abused, or was he just distraught because he was just a distraught father, or like what was, because he has to have known, otherwise I assume like there were days where he's like, where's Andrew, and she's like, at a friend's house, like what,
No, I
walked
am
upstairs.
flabbergasted. I did not even think about that. I just didn't like it for the sole purposes. I was like, oh my God, here we go. Like
Oh,
now she's crazy. But
I thought it
like
was the
that's
worst reveal
wild.
ever. Yeah,
Yeah.
but then I
Yeah.
just thought this has created too many loose ends that don't make any sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, but then we don't even now there's another
And
reveal.
we don't even get to be done with reading is a privilege with that plot twist. We're not even done. We
We're
don't
not done. We're not done. We have another
put the
one.
phone books
And
back
this
on because we aren't done yet.
that's right. So then basically I don't remember how Millie is interviewing for this job. She's interviewing.
She was
We
like give for to be another like housekeeper, nanny, like help personal assistant, whatever, to another of these like rich bougie, Karens or whatever.
Right. She
And
made a profile and then
uh-huh.
she got reached out to.
Hmm.
And then Enzo is like, hey, by the way, good luck on your interview. Oh, and then Nina texts her and is like,
Uh-huh.
thank you for this. And it's a picture of her and Cecilia like at the beach.
Hmm. Like they have peace and they
I
good for
have to
them.
say,
They
I
deserve it.
expected some sort of commentary. I expected either Frida, the author, to have been like, and also Nina was 10 pounds lighter. Like, we're like,
yeah.
She was wearing her itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini and eating a Yoplait light. And
yeah,
she
like I
was
just assumed.
great.
So I was delighted to like not have any commentary on
Yeah,
the
that
photo
was
of
nice.
Nina and
Yeah,
Cecilia.
agreed.
But then she goes to this job interview. And the woman's like, Nina recommended you. And then just plays with a knife for a little bit and then reveals that she's covered in bruises. And then
It's mhm.
And then
this is
Millie knows that basically this woman wants her to kill her husband. It's
So
a business.
and
and
this
then
is
Millie
I
goes,
totally saw this. Yes.
Millie goes, okay.
Yeah,
And
I saw
I'm
this
like,
coming absolutely like this. I figured this was how the book was going to end. I was like, now that we know about Millie's rage, now that she has successfully killed two men and damaged at least a third, and now that she's gotten away with it, and now that we have the cops on our payroll, we have Enzo and the secret network of like anti-abuse people that he works with. We have Nina, who is this like the brains of survival. I was like, there's only one way that this will end. Absolutely.
the thing for
I
me
didn't think it
was,
was going to be a business.
hold on. You have said she successfully murdered two people, but let's be honest. She did murder them, but she was put in jail for 10 years for the first one. And the second one, Nina got her out of it. So so how are we thinking that Millie is going to accomplish killing the husband? Like, are we just assuming she's like, and I'll be the fall girl this time? Or are we assuming like the abused woman is like gonna have a plan? And
I
guess what?
think
I won't
that
know because I refuse to read the second
no,
book.
we're not going to read
No.
any more of them. I can only assume that like the series goes on to follow Millie's murder adventures, which like that's awesome for you. But I do think that they will improve the process. Like I think Enzo, my prediction, having not looked into any of this, having not read any spoilers, I believe that Millie and Enzo will become a murder couple and like they will successfully orchestrate these murders and free women of their creepy hair pulling abusers. Like that.
Okay, well, I saw on
Is that
TikTok.
right?
I don't know if it's right, but I saw on TikTok that there is a book called like The Housemaid Gets Married. It's
I
got to
think
be
there's like three
Enzo.
or four in the series, right?
Yes. And so I think she marries Enzo eventually. And we are saying this. I have not read. I don't know. I know nothing
Was
about
that
it.
the
I think her and
ultimate
Enzo.
final victim is her own husband?
No, Enzo would never.
Well, we don't know that Enzo is who she's marrying. She's obviously going to be with Enzo, like on the
Oh,
side.
oh,
But
I see what
maybe
you're
the
saying.
housemaid's husband, that's another Mark. That's another like John. It's not a John if you're murdering him, but like, I don't think. I don't
Okay.
know.
Well, my
A
final thought.
victim.
My final thought is that I
Okay.
really I don't know. I didn't not enjoy it.
It's the
Yeah.
perfect book club book. There was
It's the
plenty to talk
perfect book
about.
club book.
There
Yeah.
was plenty to be like, here's foreshadowing. Here's the twist. Here's this thing. Like, plenty to be like, this is a book club book. But, like, in terms of like reading for pleasure, it was
Mm,
not. You know,
not for
people will
me.
enjoy it. If you like a thriller, you'll
Yes.
enjoy it. But, like, it is like written as if Frida was like, do you know what's going to smash with the white lady book clubs? And she
Yes.
wasn't wrong because here
She
we are
wasn't
starting with
wrong.
it.
And
Yeah.
here's yeah, it was I think it was a great book. It really, like I said at the beginning, it did get me out of a reading slump because it took me like two nights to read. And it was not even like staying up late frantic nights. It was like after work, I opened the book and it like I was very engrossed and I read it really quickly. And I was entertained the whole time. Was it ridiculous at some points? Was I like that's predictable or that's stupid or I don't agree with that choice? Like sometimes, yeah, I was. But I was I was reading it. I I
Right.
was in it. I was absolutely in it. And you know, this group that the three of us, like we are in a group chat where usually like we talk about all the ridiculous things we read because we read a lot of ridiculous things. And like we all three of us were chomping at the bit to talk about this, but we had said that we were not going to talk about it in the text. We're only going to talk about it like on the podcast. And we wanted to talk about it so bad. Like we were chomping at the bit to like discuss this book. So it was super entertaining. I am as I know that we did kind of like as Maggie Dio says, we did dunk on it tonight a little bit, but uh, we've been
I
talking
know.
about it for
I feel
it's
bad.
been
I
two
don't want to
hours.
dunk on it.
No, we have been talking about it for 2 hours and like a wildly entertaining 2 hours. I don't want this 2 hours to ever end. And
So true.
I enjoyed reading it the whole time, even if it was to laugh at it or laugh with it, or genuinely be like, yeah, girl, like, okay. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
I would recommend this book to the SVU crowd. You know who you
Absolutely.
are. Like
Yeah.
you
My
would, and
dad, if you were
oh
listening, you should read this. I think you would like it. He
no,
loves
he
I think
movies.
wouldn't.
this
Yeah, he
book is
would.
for you if you feel that reading is a privilege.
Um, uh, so let's see. It's for people who watch SVU. It's for our dad, and for people who think who know reading is a privilege. And we have to announce next week's book.
The next book. Mm-hmm.
The next book, which I have already started reading, it is killing me that I can't talk to you
Oh
guys
my God,
about
no
it.
spoilers because I
No
just
spoilers.
Mhm.
It is it's a book for people who like The Godfather and who like Kung Fu. And okay, never mind. I almost said an opinion about it. I can't
Don't
say
say
an
it.
opinion about it
Don't,
because we are
no
holding
opinions.
it. It's
Uh-huh.
called Jade City by Fonda Lee.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I'm
What is the genre? It's fantasy, right?
so it is it's fantasy, but
Okay.
it reads more like mob. Like
It
it is
does.
it's mob.
Okay.
And like weirdly, I love Mob. I don't like true crime. It doesn't make
Okay.
sense, but I love Mob.
Okay.
You know, it's like and I'm like 10% in and here's the problem.
Okay.
Here's where like my brain rot is one of the characters I'm already like you're kind of hot. Like
I know which
Okay. No
character you think
spoilers.
is
No
hot.
spoilers. No spoilers. But I'm so excited. I'm gonna start tonight, and I don't feel any particular way about Mob, but I do love Kung Fu. So
I
let's
think I
get at
like
it. Let's get
the
at it.
like the found family of Mob, if that makes sense. Like they're all like, this is us, and we're
No,
like doing
because
like I'm trying to
it's giving
protect
Six of
you.
Crows. Like
Hmm.
that's totally a trope that you're into.
Yeah.
I'm
Absolutely.
freaking out, you guys. We have to end the episode because
Me
I want to
too.
talk about
Okay,
this
no
book
more. No
so
more.
bad with
Next
you
week,
guys.
join us next week because we are going to talk about Jade City and Kung Fu and Mob and Found Family, and we might flag some piss buckets
Yeah.
too.
I think we can say that we have adjourned the
Yes.
Eclectic Novel Society's first meeting.
Mhm.
We hope that you'll join us next week for Jade City. I'm Maggie B.
I'm Maggie D.
And I'm Shay.